Hi, I'm doing my information speech today on Fort Sam Houston. My name is Brandon Velasquez, and this is my audience. Sam Houston first came to San Antonio in 1832. He was also the chief and commander of the army, of the United States Army at the time. He was in favor of separating Texas from Mexico because at the time, Mexico and Texas were one state. So they were in the process of making Texas its own state. If you have ever been to the San Antonio Zoo or the Woody Museum, Incarnate Word, even the Japanese Tea Gardens, I'm sure you've passed by the big gate that says Fort Sam Houston across the front. And I'm going to tell you why it's important to not only San Antonio, but Texas as a whole. So Texas first made amends. The U.S. Army first made amends with Texas in 1845, when Texas became its own state. The camps were first set up in San Antonio in 1846, but there wasn't anything permanently set until 1848. Which is also when they were able to move the headquarters of the 8th Department to San Antonio. Now, we all know somebody that's in the service, or we have friends or family that's in the military. So, not only is it interesting, but it's important to know how San Antonio started and how Texas became one of the biggest military cities. I chose Sam Houston because it's one of the first permanent places to be established in Texas. Over time, a lot has changed since the 1800s till now. One of those things being especially our military and how widely spread out, not only from across San Antonio, but Texas overall. Now, troops were first set in San Antonio to defend the Texas missions in 1718. The War Department first purchased 92.79 acres of 3 pieces of land and named it Government Hill. Construction first began in 1876 with a 624 square foot quadrille, which was it's just a big tower. By 1891, 60 buildings have been built on the 43 acres, which included a hospital, a headquarters, a staff post, an infantry post, making it the second largest fort in the United States Army at the time. Fort Sam Houston expanded once more in 1866 after the Spanish-American War, following the capture of Geronimo, an Indian chief, but that led to him being exiled in Florida. Now, by 1912, Fort Sam Houston was the biggest army post, having a headquarters of Southern Department, quartermaster's depot, an infantry regiment, a regiment of cavalry, a field artillery battalion, a signal, and engineer troops. In 1975, Fort Sam Houston became a historic landmark. Around this time, Fort Sam Houston was also set to train troops for international crisis and disasters. Fort Sam Houston was in charge of deploying troops to Afghanistan and Iraq after the attack of the World Trade Center in 2001. This was also being used to aid the casualties of the war from Iraq and Afghanistan. Now, in conclusion, camps were first set to what would later become Fort Sam Houston in October 1845. By 1912, Fort Sam Houston had become the largest army post, then declared a historic landmark in 1975. Fort Sam has one of the highest active duty and reserve duty members to date. And so now that you know what I just told you, next time you see somebody in uniform or you pass by a military base or something, you know a little bit more about how Texas became what it is and how it became one of the biggest military cities. And then, thank you, and I'm going to pan my audience one more time.